No trouble with my diet. It's you feed me. She did.
She did. That's like,
So it made life easy. I got rid of this too. Anyway, so I'm Alan Burnett. I supervise scripts over at Warner Brothers for the DTVs, and I wrote part of. I'm waiting for tape recorders to come together. I wrote part of Emerald Knights. My part was the bookends and the middle material and the connecting material. And I wrote that with Todd Casey, and was a staff writer at Warner Brothers, and now is an executive at Marvel. Yeah.
what do we do to traders? That's what.
Oh, he's a terrific guy. So I wish him luck. He used to be with Wizard, so maybe the name
Karma
yeah.
turned around for him then too.
Yeah. So, anyways, and part of the idea for the opening and closing was Jeff Johns had some ideas about the sun erupting and providing this tunnel into the antimatter world, and so that's what we went with, and that's what we did. So,
is it tough when you're crafting sort of bookending all these different stories in between? How tough is that to make it all sort of tie together?
It's tough. I didn't know. You don't know quite if it's going to all work out until you finally put it together. And I was dealing with writers in New York and writers in Los Angeles, and Dave Gibbons was around the world, and I think he was in England when I was dealing with him. It might have been Australia. I'm not sure. And so we're piecing everything together, and we think it's going to work, and it seems to work. A lot of explosions. I'll tell you that. There's a lot. I thought, looking at it, maybe we should have done one story without any explosions whatsoever. But otherwise, it all came together. It has a progression. It starts off with the Green Lanterns, who are the first Green Lantern, and that was done by Guggenheim and Green, Mark Guggenheim and Michael Green, who are working on the theatrical movies for Green Lantern right now. And then it sort of progresses. You get the first Green Lantern, you get the way that they are trained with the Kilowog story that Peter Tomasi did. And then you have the Lyra story from Eddie Bergant, which sort of shows a personal side to where they come from, at least in one case. And then you have the famous Mogo story. And then you have, I hope I'm not missing any here. Then we had Jeff Johns' story which leads us into the Blackest Night in a way. So that was our idea going into this, that we would have these war stories from the trenches, and that they would have sort of a flow to them as far as building upon the Green Lantern history. Go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
You had more to say. Say it.
No, and I'm happy with a lot of it. I mean, I look at it, and it's the busiest DVD we've done. I mean, it just has different worlds and different characters in each world, and usually when you write this stuff, you have a sense of keeping it compact enough that you're not taxing animators. But this one, because of the nature of it, it just had a lot of production to it, and they did a great job.
How did you get attached to the Green Lantern itself, this movie? How did it come about?
I was just the one who, like I said, I supervised the DVDs there, so I was the one who made most sense to write the connected material and then putting it all together. So that's how that evolved.
Can you give us some of your background? How you started and progressed?
Sure. I was. I've been in animation for like 30 years, And I started at Hanna-Barbera for 6.5 years, and I did all those silly shows, Smurfs and Scooby-Doo. And the Super Friends. I did the last 2 seasons of Super Friends when they were called Galactic Guardians and some other title.
Those were good.
Well, yeah,
Best 2 seasons.
Well, they're not that good.
Comparatively speaking.
For 1978, they were, yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, this was actually 80. We were up to 83. ABC had that show for. This shows you how a different time it was. ABC was committed to showing the Super Friends for 5 years, and those were the last 2 years of the last 5-year contract. And so they wanted to, and by that time it was starting to go downhill as far as viewers went. So they wanted to up the ante somehow, just make it a little different. And the people at Hanna-Barbera knew I was a big comic book fanatic, and so they put me in charge. And I tried the first season to make it a little more adult, but they really wanted a show that would appeal to 2-year-olds because it would be the first show on their schedule. And then the second season I did it, they promised they would put it as the last show on the schedule. So that's when we got to do half-hour stories, and some of them were good, but a lot of it's I look at it and go, oh my God, it's another era. So anyway, so I started with Super Friends. I worked at Disney for a few years, mostly DuckTales. Then I came back to Hanna-Barbera to work on Scooby-Doo live action, which never happened. And then Gene Purdy was at Warner Brothers, and who I worked with at Hanna-Barbera, said, I have this Batman show, I think we need you. And so they brought me over. And I've been at Warner Brothers for the last 20 years. And doing mostly superhero shows. And then Ozzy and Drix and Static Shock and Crypto the Superdog and Firehouse Tale. So I've been all over the map. I like to do different things. The hardest thing I ever did was Firehouse Tales. It was a show for preschoolers, and it's I like plot, and they don't like plot. So it's mostly walk in the park stories. So